This is the Walksnail Avatar VRX, a cheaper alternative to the Walksnail Avatar goggles. You just slap it on any other analog FPV goggles with HDMI input and voila, you converted them to the Walksnail Avatar digital FPV system. But it has the secret usage of which the DJI FPV system users can only dream on. Impress your friends, irritate DJI users, get yourself a digital FPV ground station with the help of the Walksnail Avatar VRX. Let me show you how to do it. The standard way of working with the Avatar VRX is to attach this thing in the front of your analog goggles, connect everything with the HDMI cable and you are golden. Because this thing has the absolutely standard HDMI output, it opens some additional possibilities. Mainly, you can connect this thing to absolutely anything that accepts the HDMI signal. Goggles, projectors, TVs, LCD screens, or a field monitor. A field monitor is basically an HDMI screen with HDMI or, for example, SDI input used by the videographers to have just a bigger screen connected to their cameras. Kinda useful thing when you are recording videos. And to be honest, not that expensive. The cheapest field monitor from China will cost you probably less than $100. For this one, the Fieldworld F6 Plus, I paid around $130–140. And it has the standard set of features of the field monitor. In the back, you can connect the battery, so you are power free from anything else. It has the couple of tripod holes everywhere. It has the HDMI input as well as HDMI output, and it outputs 8 volts DC. Do you see where I'm going with that? It has the built-in HDMI splitter, LCD, and yeah, you can connect the Avatar VRX to this thing. This video was created thanks to my patrons and YouTube channel members. Thank you guys, you're the main reason this channel keeps going. If you're not one of them, then please consider becoming one for as little as $2 a month. Thank you guys, highly appreciated, and yeah, there are some special benefits out of this deal, both for you and for me. What I did is basically a simple adapter that allows to connect the Avatar VRX to my Fieldworld F6 Plus. By the way, if you want to build something like that, it doesn't really have to be a Fieldworld, because any field monitor with the HDMI input and the HDMI output will 100% do. The only custom element in this build is this 3D printed bracket that moves the VRX away from the monitor, so the battery and the cables here still fits, and as well allows you to set the angle, because you know this thing should be facing your drone or the airplane. What we have to do next is to connect the HDMI and power. I'm using the springy HDMI to mini HDMI cable, so I do not have to use any additional adapters, and because the cable is springy, it's kinda easy to set it in the position I want to, so just plug this thing into the HDMI output, and then I have the barrel to barrel cable that allows to power the VRX from the field monitor. I already mentioned that the field monitor has the 8 volt output, and when you put a big battery, it can power everything for hours. So just plug this thing in, and if the battery is connected, power everything on. When everything is connected and powered, you of course have access to all the features and the settings on the VRX with the standard menu of the Walksnail Avatar. So video transmission, video reception, playback, and so on works just fantastic. But the most interesting feature of this setups comes from the fact that this thing has the built-in HDMI splitter. The small LCD is not the only place when you can watch the image from your drone or the airplane. With the correct HDMI cable, you can connect this thing to the goggles and use both goggles and the LCD screen at the same time. Just plug the HDMI cable to the HDMI output on the field monitor and the other plug in the HDMI cable into the correct place in your goggles. And voila, you see exactly the same thing on the screen and in the goggles. Let's be honest, DJI has nothing really comparable to such a setup. That's smart, Walksnail. Really smart. Of course, there is still the issue of the cables hanging everywhere around you and the delay. Because let's be honest, there is a small delay and most probably you really will not be doing a competitive racing with such a setup. However, from my experience, the delay is not really that big of the issue, and as long as you are just flying for fun, it's not really a problem. With such a setup for the longer flights, you do not have to wear the goggles all the time, and as the bonus, people around you can also see what you see. Maybe not perfect, but definitely interesting idea. What do you think about such a device? Useful? Useless? Or maybe just somewhere in between? Drop your thoughts into the comments. Here's the next video you should watch. In the meantime, this was the FPV University. I'm Paweł Spychalski. Thank you very much for watching and, like always, happy flying!